to another video. I am Gregoria, also known as G, and here on this channel we talk about all things spirituality, mysticism, and everything in between. I am so excited to deliver this video for you guys today. I am just pumped. I've written so many notes. I have so much information that I want to share that I know I will have to do a part 2 because there's just so much and I can't deliver it all in one session. But today I'll be talking about soulmates and twin flames, with a heavy focus on twin flames, because I feel that a lot of people know a lot already about soulmates, and people are more often than not confused about twin flames. So I'll be talking a lot about twin flames today, but also including other relationship dynamics, including karmic relationships, soul family, soul contracts, things like that. So they will all bleed into today's conversation. Again, I am so excited to share this with you because I know it's a topic that is heavily requested. It confuses a lot of people. And now as the level of consciousness raises in the collective, we're witnessing more and more people meet their twin flame or even false flame. So I will explain that as well today. So over my course of the last however many years where I've been really immersed in the spiritual world, I have heard so many different explanations for twin flames. And often you hear things that are really confusing and that don't necessarily sit right with me either. So this is the first explanation I ever learned when it came to soulmates and twin flames, and it's the one that I always go back to because it makes the most sense to me. All right, now we already know, science has told us that we are made of stars, okay? Now, over the course of my spiritual awakening, that explanation has evolved, but let's use the star example because it works really well. So imagine us as one star. Now, that star exploded into billions of pieces. And eventually, we're all trying to reconnect to be that one star again, okay? We come from one source. That one source exploded into infinite pieces in order for it to know itself in all of these infinite experiences. And then eventually, we're all just trying to find our way back home. This is explainable when you just meet that person, that random stranger that you just have this instant connection with. And you're just like, how do I know you? And it could be because you had a closer connection as one of the star particles. I'll explain this in a bit. All right, so this is how I understood it right from the beginning, right at the beginning of my awakening journey. Now, the way I understood it was we all broke up into little pieces, and then those little pieces broke up into more little pieces and more little pieces and more little pieces. Now, the atoms around your atom, they're your soul family. They're people that you recognize, that feel familiar. Often, like my family, my actual biological family, we travel through lifetimes together, not always in the same family dynamic. It may be my mom has been my daughter and my sister's been my daughter, and my dad could have been my brother and my grandfather my cousin or something like that, right? And it evolves and changes, and we don't all reincarnate together in each lifetime. For example, my mom miscarried in between my sister and I. We know that it was a boy, and he protects us. So for whatever reason, he wasn't supposed to incarnate into this lifetime experience. He was just supposed to stay in the spirit world and protect us as like a spirit guide. However, he has been with us in the physical in other lifetimes, okay? So you have that soul family. Now, the soul family isn't limited to just your blood family. It's inclusive of people like friends and certain family members and certain acquaintances that you meet over your lifetime that you just have this really special bond with. They're your soul family, people that come with you in each experience, or at least most lifetimes in some form. I have some friends, they're just so familiar. I know we've connected in past lives. Even I've met people who are strangers. We never reconnect again, but I also have this immense familiarity with them because I know that we've met in other lifetimes. Now, this is soul family. Soul mates, on the other hand, are people who were in direct contact of your atom. So you had the atom and then you had the cluster around. These are your soul family. And then you had those who were literally attached to you. They're like your soulmates. They feel like siblings. It's a sibling energy, okay? It's that there is so much love for you. And soulmates, again, don't just have to be romantic. They can be like, I know my sister is my soulmate. I love her so much. And it's, although we are biological siblings, I know that we had this sibling energy throughout all of our lifetimes, okay? And then you'll have certain friends that are your soulmates. You will have romantic partners that are soulmates. Now, soulmates are beautiful. Soulmates are love enriched. You won't usually have many conflicts with your soulmates. You'll have the usual earthly plain kind of conflict, but you won't have a deep emotional trauma attached to soulmates. There will just be this beautiful connection. We have multiple soulmates, okay? We don't meet each soulmate in each lifetime. They come and go, and I'll explain why soulmates are so important in a second. But soulmates are beautiful relationships. In a romantic dynamic, you want to be with your soulmate. You want to be with a particular soulmate. Now, again, you have multiple. You may have even met multiple in this lifetime, okay? You may have multiple romantic partners that are your soulmates because they came with you in that cluster, and you just have this really deep connection with them. Whereas a twin flame, imagine those atoms. You are the one atom, you split in two, that's your twin flame. You have your divine masculine counterpart and your divine feminine counterpart. Now, those divine masculine and divine feminine counterparts aren't exclusive or mutually exclusive to sex, okay? So it's not about male and female. They can exist within two females or two males. So this isn't about sexual orientation, but there is a divine masculine counterpart and a divine feminine counterpart. Although we all harness both energies, okay? So I both have divine feminine and divine masculine within me, or wounded feminine, wounded masculine within me, but let's refer to the positive here. So the divine masculine, divine feminine within us, but one is more dominant than the other, okay? So me, I embody more of a divine feminine energy, and my twin flame, whoever he is, wherever he is, embodies more of a divine masculine energy, okay? And he is me split into two. Now, recently I was meditating and I was thinking about this video to do for all of you, and this other visual came into my mind, and I was like, whoa, this explains it so well. So imagine that star example I gave you. Go back to my infinite possibilities video, and in that video I talk about why we needed infinite possibilities in order to know every single possibility of who we could be in order to come back to ourselves. So God, one source, split into infinite possibilities to know who it could be in order to come back to itself to be like, now I know who I could be. Okay, so our goal, our purpose, everything that drives our soul is for ascension, is for union with God. Okay, so knowing that means that although I come from source and to source I shall return, my journey here is an expression of that source. In order for that source to have known itself, what it did is it began the process of experience. It began the process of the different dimensions. So first it split into, remember how I used the example of the trees. First it's split into these 3 levels of experience, and those 3 levels split into more 3 levels, another 3 levels, and so on and so on. Think like multi-level marketing. That's the energy, and it continues to split over and over again. Okay, so as we continue to split and split and split into more experiences through expansion, the process of expansion, those who I split with in, let's say, the last 10 lifetimes are going to feel more familiar than those I split with 1,000,000 years ago. Okay, and I'm talking linear timeline, but it's not linear timeline. But those who I split with long ago are going to feel less familiar because we are all of one, divine unity, divine oneness. Okay, so we all come from the one. So technically we are all one big soul family because we come from the one essence, the one source. However, if I've recently split with my soul family for expansion, it's going to feel more familiar to me. So that is a soulmate and soul family connection, right? That familiarity. However, twin flames are recognized as one soul splitting into two, experiencing lifetimes of lessons in order to ascend together. Now, do I feel every single person has a twin flame? No. I feel for some of us, our soul never split, okay? Because the way I see souls, if I think of it in my mind, I think of literally bacteria merging and forming. I don't feel that the one soul goes through each lifetime. I think that in the spirit world, sometimes I merge as one, sometimes I split as two, and so on and so on and so on. Now, your twin flame, which I'm going to get really in depth with in a minute, is your eternal twin flame. All right, we don't change twin flames. We only ever have one twin flame if we've got it, and it's for eternity. Okay, so the different types of relationships that I'm going to reference, you have your soulmates, which I've explained, you have your twin flames, which I'm going to get into, you have karmic relationships, which I'm also going to get into and explain to you how they often mimic twin flame connections and often misrecognized as twin flames. You have your soul family, you have your false flames, which are karmic relationships, and you also have trauma bonding and projection bonding. These are from the earthly plane, can again be guised as karmic relationships, but often it is of this particular time-space reality and certain bonds that we build with people where we create stories in our mind that it must be a karmic relationship when instead it could just be narcissistic projection onto a relationship dynamic. Now, the reason why so many people are meeting their twin flames or are on the journey to meet their twin flames is because the collective consciousness right now is at a level where the environment is conducive for those unions and connections, all right? We are ascending rapidly, we're awakening rapidly, and because of that, it is a much more collective, conducive environment to meet your twin flame counterpart in order to ascend together. So that's why this conversation is coming up more and more for people, and people are recognizing it and being aware of it. I'm sure you would have heard the word twin flame years and years ago, but it would have bypassed your consciousness because you weren't tuned into that frequency at that time. But now all of a sudden, the fact that you've clicked on this video, something within you feels connected to the twin flame experience. And that's why you're hearing it and are more and more connected to the twin flame concept. Now, twin flames come together to activate one another. It's a journey together. Now, activation isn't limited to a romantic love experience. There are many different ways activation can come place for learning experiences. So it isn't always a romantic connection. Although your twin flame often means romantic union, it's not always like that for the lessons that need to be learned. Now, twin flame relationships, and this is often what's parroted online, can become toxic if you are not ready for the amplified energy of the union, okay? If you're not prepared for it, if you're not in a spiritual place where you can contain that sort of amplified energy, they can become toxic really, really quickly. Now, I'm going to talk about that later on. And this is often what people hear online. So it's always this fear that a twin flame relationship is going to be toxic, but that's not the case. It may be toxic, and I'll explain why it can be toxic, but it isn't necessary for it to be toxic. Now, a quick summary: the twin flame union is to activate unity with God, unity with source, unity with light, okay? Ascension. That is the reasoning for twin flames. Now, the activation process, when you meet, when you connect, this brings up a lot of shadows. It brings up a lot of darkness. I'll explain why our DNA actually transmutes in this way in a minute, and why we feel all of these intense shadows being brought to the surface. Because ascension isn't just light field, all right? Ascension is light. Once we have ascended, we become one with light. But the process there isn't just light field. It embodies the darkness and the shadows as well in order for us to move through them and learn the lessons. You have one twin flame, many soulmates, many karmic relationships, a lot of soul family, okay? One twin flame. One twin flame, or even none. I really do believe, unlike what I've read, I really intuitively believe that some people have no twin flame. The other thing I want to say is you don't meet your twin flame in every lifetime. More often than not, you don't reincarnate together in each time-space reality. And some of the time, your twin flame can actually be your spirit guide in this lifetime. You choose which lifetimes to incarnate into in order to learn particular lessons based on that time-space reality. So you don't always incarnate in the same reality together. So they may not even exist in the physical plane with you here and now. Now, going back to karmic relationships and soulmates and soul family, these often have soul contracts attached to them. Now, soul contracts become catalysts for learning experiences in the three-dimensional plane. We needed them. Our soul signed up for them because in each lifetime, you come with a particular learning purpose, okay? Teach, learn, purpose. So in this particular lifetime, you may not know what it is on a conscious level, but your higher self is aware of the lesson that needed to be learned in this lifetime. And you will have soul contracts attached to that learning experience, people that needed to come into your experience to help you learn. To help you learn the lesson. So this may be in the form of soulmates, it may be in the form of karmic relationships, it may be in the form of a soul family. Soul contracts are for specific lessons and transcending cycles, okay? To stop repeating cycles in each lifetime. That's why we have soul contracts, and they're so important. Okay, so let's get into the twin flame explanation. I'm so excited about this. Now, please note, Your intuition is your number one priority, is your number one teacher, your number one guide, okay? So listen to your intuition. Take what resonates and let go what doesn't. There are so many different explanations online. This is something that I resonate with deeply. Does that mean it's not going to evolve? Of course it will. It may even evolve tomorrow. But right now, here and now, this is what I feel really connects to me and my truth. So that's what I am sharing with you. Take what feels like it resonates and release what doesn't. Now, think of the word twin flame. I always talk about wording, okay? Twin flame. Your twin flame is like a twin connection. You walk into a room and you just feel them in there. You don't even have to see them. You can feel the energy of them. Think of twin connections when two twins, both get sick at the same time, or one's not well and the other one can feel it, or something's wrong with one and the other one can feel it, or they send messages telepathically. It's that sort of a connection because you are one soul split into two. So you have this really, really deep connection. Think of even twins, when you explain it, one egg that splits into two, okay? They have this really deep connection between one another. Your twin flame is an activator, so often it triggers you because its purpose is to bring up things that you need to work on. Because remember, the goal is unity with God, ascension. So in order to reach the light, we must go through the activation of the light process, which includes recognizing and moving through our shadows and our darkness. So if you haven't done enough of the inner work, or you don't have a solid toolkit to help you move through this union, you may struggle in this union. And that's where toxic twin flame relationships come from, because a lot of people rush this connection to their twin flame because they're focused upon it. And because they're focused upon it and they use earthly conditioning to think to force a union, because you're my twin flame, I have to be in a romantic dynamic with you, even though I'm not ready on a spiritual level. They rush it. They don't have the inner strength, the inner spiritual maturity to create a conducive environment for that twin flame relationship to become a divine complement. And I'll explain I'll explain it now. A divine complement is essentially a twin flame relationship that is harmonious. That's when you both have done the inner work, you recognize your connection to source, you have this immense self-love for yourself, and so you can then share it with another, your divine counterpart. So for those who can't handle the divine union, they often experience twin flame separation, and twin flame separation is incredibly painful. It's because no other relationship, even with a soulmate, matches the same energy of a twin flame connection. So you essentially know what you're missing out on. It doesn't mean you're not going to be happy, because soulmates bring so much love and joy into your experience. You will be happy, but you will always know what you're missing. That's also why I don't like that I need to find my twin flame is a thing. I just don't think that's necessary. I think that when I am ready within myself as an individual, once I've connected with source and I have absolute self-love, that's when I want to attract my twin flame into my experience. I don't want to rush the process. It doesn't have to be in this lifetime. Don't go looking for your twin flame. Is this person your twin flame? I promise you, when you meet your twin flame, you will not have to ask, is this my twin flame? It will be undoubtedly a twin flame connection, and you will know it with every fiber of your being. So I only ever want my twin flame when I am fully and completely ready to ascend with my divine counterpart, and not before then. Okay, so this is important. How to recognize a twin flame. I want to note that this is actually extremely difficult because many other relationships and people that come into your experience will offer similar characteristics to a twin flame. My best advice is to not label a relationship a twin flame partnership or connection. Instead, just to be in the relationship and let the relationship over time define itself. Okay, so don't be like, yes, I'm with my twin flame. No, they're not my twin flame. Yes, they're my soulmate. No, don't do that. Just be in the relationship fully present, harness the love, amplify the love, and then the relationship will define itself. And no one is better than the other. Everyone putting twin flames on a hierarchy ahead of soulmates have it all confused. Remember when I talked about the soul ages? There is no hierarchy for relationships either. We don't need to be an old soul. It doesn't matter if we're a young soul. It's the same with these relationship dynamics. A karmic relationship is just as necessary as a twin flame relationship, is just as necessary as a soulmate relationship, is just as necessary as your soul family, etc., etc., etc. All right, it's a level playing field. They are all necessary. We all need to experience all of them. But here are some telltale signs on how to recognize your twin flame. Just in case you're curious, again, don't hold on to these. Oh, tick off the box, therefore they're my twin flame. It doesn't work like that, okay? But here are some signs anyway. There is instant recognition and trust, like this sense of familiarity, and a very, very strong, deep, instant connection. It's just like you meet them, and not only can you feel their energy in a room, you're just like, I know this person. I know this person. I can't explain it, but I know them. It's like you're both in a room and you just can't help but look over to them over and over again, all right? There's something about their energy that keeps drawing you to them. Now, think about it. We talked about it. It's one soul split into two. So you're literally looking at your mirror. When you see your reflection, you always take a glance, okay? It's that sort of energy. I am always glancing at my mirror, at my counterpart. It's that really instant, deep, deep connection and sense of familiarity. There is this mutual attraction. It's like something is in the air. It's unexplainable, the connection that you have. It's just like there's something about them. I can't explain it, but there's something about them. There's something about them. I'm so attracted to this person. Even if they don't necessarily conform to what you would normally find physically attractive, there's something about them that you just find irresistible, right? You can't explain it. You can't put it into words, but there's something about them. There's this mutual attraction. So if you don't find someone that attractive, or there's not this attraction to them, chances are they're not your twin flame. That doesn't mean that they're not a soulmate or they're not a perfect lover or partner, but they won't necessarily be your twin flame. You have this deep, unexplainable desire to be near them and get to know them on every level, not just on a romantic level, but also on a friendship level, on a spiritual level, on a sexual level. On every level, you just have this desire to really get to know them. You want to know about their life. You want to know who they are, and you want them to know who you are. The sexual chemistry between you and your twin flame is super amplified. You will fantasize about this person even if you or them are in relationships with other people, and you can't help it. You're not even doing it on a conscious level. You will literally dream of them. You'll fantasize about them. They will be in your mind. The sexual chemistry is so intense. Now, this is sacred sex. It will activate so many different experiences within us, whether it be a Kundalini awakening, whether it be geometric pictures and colors, whether it be you being able to see your chakra system because you share a chakra system. You are one soul split into two. It will activate so many different experiences during the sexual experience. It will be unlike any other sexual experience you've had with any other person ever in your life. Also, why if you've had a twin flame connection and then you separate, it's hard to relive that experience with anyone else. So you feel like something is missing. Now, what happens, in fact, after a sexual experience, a sexual union with your twin flame, your physical vessel begins a process of transmutation. Remember that a twin flame connection is an activation catalyst. So your body begins alchemizing, which means as elements in your DNA are activated, it will bring up any toxic cellular programming. So all your conditioning from this lifetime and past lifetimes, any unresolved trauma, anything that you need to experience, your triggers, things that you've been suppressing, emotions that you've harbored, are all going to come to the surface, okay? Because it's that activation. This will be felt by you, and you will also project it to your twin flame counterpart, and they will do the same, because both bodies are regenerating. And it does this because your body wants to be conducive for this union, because this current 3D experience is not in alignment with the 5D experience. The twin flame experience is in the 5D, okay? And all the conditioning that exists in the 3-dimensional plane is not a conducive environment for this union. And so we go through this activation process that brings up all the trauma. And as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have the toolkit to support the union and the activations and the cleansing that goes on, it's going to turn into a toxic relationship really quickly. If and when the cleansing can take place, this person will become your divine complement, because now your inner alignment allows for pure soul recognition. And this person is your soul counterpart, is your counterpart. So they can be really harmonious relationships if you have done the inner work, and if you're ready, and if you're prepared for all the activations and the toxic cleansing that's going to take place once the union has happened in the physical 3D world. If you're prepared for that, mentally, spiritually mature, then it's going to be a beautiful connection once you can transcend that toxic energy that comes. It's like, you know, when they put petrol in an empty tank and all the stuff that's at the bottom comes to the top, it's essentially doing that when you meet your twin flame. Now, often, not always, you will look very similar to your twin flames. I have actually recognized other people's twin flames and I'm like, you guys are twin flames. They look like twins. People will mistake you as siblings. You also probably work in a similar field, not necessarily exactly the same industry, but you may both be into health and wellness, or you may both have an online business, or you may both work with animals, etc. Many of their mannerisms will be similar to yours, so you'll do things very similar. You'll have similar quirks or really weird, outlandish things that you both do, and you're just like, that's weird, and you're just like, that's weird, and you have that really strange connection when it comes to your mannerisms. You are their mirror and they are yours. So what triggers them will often trigger you too, and vice versa. You will share similar triggers. Also why there can be conflict in the union, because you're triggered by the same things, and then you both suppress or you both attack and project, and you don't know how to deal with that similar trigger. Now, these connections sometimes become romantic relationships when you're ready, but oftentimes if you do meet in a particular lifetime, or even in this lifetime, even if you're to have a union later on, there may be many obstacles in the way of the union, which prevents the union even when this person remains on your mind. So they'll still be on your mind, but there'll be so many obstacles in the way. You never ever ever forget this person. Even if you're in a relationship with another person, you will remember this person for life. They will always be lingering in the back of your mind, and you won't necessarily know why, but they'll always just be there. Now, things to note. Twin flame and soulmate relationships offer very similar characteristics to karmic relationships, but they are not the same. So many people think they've met their twin flame, but they've actually been in a karmic relationship or met their karmic counterpart, also known as a false flame. Okay, so there are lots of people who think they're in twin flame relationships that are actually karmic relationships. So this is your false flame. Karmic relationships are soul contracts and are incredibly important. Now, quick notes on karmic relationships. You had past lives together, which why there is an intense sense of familiarity with this person. Also why you'll experience intense emotions with this person. See how it's mirroring a twin flame connection. It's old, deep love. You've loved them before and you probably have this deep love for them now, but it is a karmic relationship. But in your past life, these emotions were left unresolved, which probably look like guilt, fear, dishonesty, disloyalty, dependence, anger, maybe even violence, etc. I would even include the death of a partner prematurely. So let's say you were in this relationship and you were meant to learn certain lessons and that person died abruptly. It may be a soul contract for you to experience that same relationship again in order for you to learn the particular lesson you needed to learn together. And because of the unresolved emotions, you'll be drawn to your karmic relationships again in this lifetime. Again, I'm going to note, karmic relationships are so important. People dismiss them. People don't like being in karmic relationships, but they are so important because we can finally resolve what was left unresolved. We get to relive the union so we can make different choices in this lifetime. They are soul contracts, marriage contracts, vows, etc. They need to be fulfilled. I recently had someone that I spoke to who I said to her, I channeled something. I said, you need to marry your partner. It doesn't have to be, a legally binding contract, but there needs to be that union because it is that karmic relationship where there needs to be that union, that vow. Otherwise, you're going to repeat it in the next lifetime. So sometimes you just have to complete the contract in order to move on to the next thing. Now, twin flame relationships, on the other hand, don't have the karma attached to them. They don't have to work through their karma. It will bring up all of those shadows, but there's no karma in the relationship. You may have been connected in past lives, so there is that recognition element. But if you did and it didn't work out, it was because you weren't ready to ascend together yet. So it's different reasons for it not working out in a past life. But your twin flame union is permanent. If you have encountered your true twin flame, you will reunite. I really feel deep in my heart that if you have met your twin flame in this lifetime, you will be together in this lifetime. And I feel that based on the collective level of consciousness right now. For you two to have incarnated together in this time-space reality right now means that you wanted to ascend together. You wanted to unite with love together, to source together. Now, I don't often feel that you meet your twin flames in other lives. And the reason for that, or especially not romantic connections. And the reason I feel that is because they are your counterpart and the purpose for the union is ascension. So there's not really a reason to have a romantic exchange with this person in a past life unless you were ready for that ascension process. Which means that until you're both ready for that ascension process, you wanted to learn the lessons individually from this physical plane. As a couple, you are not bound by earthly constructs of love and relationships. You don't need to fall in love because you are one body. There is already absolute love. You have to both awaken to God's love individually before the union. Now, if twin flames were to spend too much time together in the physical plane or in past lives, they would begin attaching earthly ego stories to maintain the union. Even if the souls aren't ready, your twin flame is bound to you for eternity. They are you, so you must accept and recognize Source individually first before you accept and recognize it together. There is no falling in love. There is only absolute love with your twin flame. You may deny it, you may mask it, you may reject it, but it will always be there. Now, remember, it's a 5D union. So even when there is physical separation on this plane, you are not separate in the 5D. You share a soul, you share a chakra system. You cannot be disconnected. Communication with your twin flame can be done all the time through telepathy, through dreams, through meditation, and any other means that you find that you can connect on a spiritual level. So don't be in a hurry to meet your twin flame. There is no hurry in infinity. We wanted all experiences, all infinite possibilities and experiences. We're here to learn. So let's not put twin flames on a hierarchy. There is no better relationship than another. Just because someone's met their twin flame counterpart doesn't mean anything more to you than your personal experience. So if anything, just find the love in each relationship dynamic, find peace within that. I hope that really explains. I know it was a lot, okay, but I hope that explains what a twin flame connection is and how you can recognize a twin flame connection. But you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but every single relationship dynamic is important. Now, I did say that I was going to mention trauma bonding and projection bonding, so I'll mention that now quickly. Trauma bonding and projection bonding is basically when you connect with someone because you share trauma, and that's what brings on the recognition. So you feel that you have this deep connection, but it's because you're both going through the same trauma or harboring the same trauma, and you both need to bring it out to the surface. It is a different kind of relationship. It's not a karmic relationship. It's not a soul contract. It's none of those things. It's this weird recognition based on the earthly realm. Anyway, that was all a lot. And I hope that you found some value in that. I love you so much. If you want more positivity, I have a free positivity rampage. Links are in the description box below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I love you so much. And please let me know, what do you think a twin flame relationship is, a soulmate connection is? Let me know in the comments below. I love you, and I will see you on next week's video.